So we got about 10 days to fund the government, or there'll be another government shutdown. Now, the continuing resolution that was passed just before the election runs out December 20th. Well, Republicans are going to need Democrats in order to pass anything. Why? They can't agree with themselves. There's a section of Republicans that want steep cuts to everything, and President Joe Biden wouldn't sign that. There's a section of Republicans, at least one or two, that are saying just shut everything down until Donald Trump becomes president on January 20th, leave the government shut down for a month. Oh, that would eliminate a bunch of spending, and then we will be in complete control of Congress and we can pass whatever we want. Well, that would crash the economy. And what a way to go into Christmas, 5 days before Christmas, and say, well, hundreds of thousands of government employees are now being furloughed, they're not getting paid. I did a whole video talking about that and how bad it would be and how it could crash the economy. So they're going to need Democrats. Well, what are the Democrats asking for? At least House Democrats are saying they want a couple things. Big increases for FEMA aid and disaster relief aid, specifically for the hurricane-affected areas, but more importantly, just more money for FEMA, so they have more money to do their work should more events come up, because things happen. And then 2, no cuts. Basically, no drastic spending cuts. Keep everything where it is, at least through this continuing resolution, and they're on board. Now, it's going to take Democrats to pass this thing, so odds are that's pretty much what's going to happen. There'll be some fighting going on all the way up until this needs passed, and then they'll pass it with a day or two left, maybe the last day, and they'll go on. And this is what next year is going to look like, the next 2 years. Republicans are going to need Democrats to pass anything because they can't agree with themselves, and there's probably not going to be these steep draconian cuts that they want to do. When you want to cut $2 trillion from federal spending, well, the only way to do that, it would involve cutting it out of the defense budget. Well, they don't want to cut defense, okay? Well, then that goes. Then you start limiting the things you can cut from, and pretty soon you're only down to cutting from what they call the entitlements: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, any sort of government assistance programs. And I don't know that the Republicans can run on getting that done. Now, there's going to be a group of Republicans that want to do it, but other Republicans are smart enough to know they can't get reelected if they cut those things. So expect a lot of infighting in the Republican parties, in the Republican Party itself, in both chambers of Congress the next 2 years. But ultimately, it's going to take Democrats in order to keep the government open, because they are just working with such a thin majority they can't agree with themselves.